Hello, greetings. This is Gilles Mancillon. I thought I wish you a good day. I hope you're enjoying those times. I'm going to pull a few cards first to see what's for the rest of this month, what those situation, and then I'm going to comment on astrology and a little very briefly astrology and mythology for the stories are intertwined and interconnected. Once we understand mythology, we have better understanding through the explanation of this self-portrait behind me. And then I'm going to deliver a little message, sing a song as usual. I have some really good thoughts that cross through my mind right now, and just anxious and eager to be fully there. And so the potential, the general situation is destiny. It's about climbing the ladder. What goes around that is the doubt. For we have sometimes we can doubt ourselves. For personally, I do not doubt my higher self, but I doubt my ability to align with my higher self. Sometimes I've been feeling like, but it's my higher self. Is your higher self is far more intelligent than we are, and so we have to trust it. For it sees so much further into the future, and it remembers the past. It knows where we come from, but it knows where we want to go, and so it's about trusting your higher self, your intuition. What we see before us is in the conscious mind is consolation, where what we have in our subconscious is hope. Where we are now is a challenge. It's a very difficult situation. We are trialed and we are tested. What's coming up in the near future is righteousness. We're going to be able to align with all that is true. What we have in our strength in the situation is determination. We are determined to move forward. What comes to us from the outside world is patience. For the world will wait for synchronicity, for there's only so much or so long that we can wait. For there's a divine timing. We have to be ready when God needs us to be ready to move into that situation, whatever that is. What we see in our inner emotion, our hopes and fear, is serenity. We're not as much troubled by our emotional. We find this point of serenity, and the outcome will be acceptation, to accept our destiny, to accept that which is true, that the highest good, and to let go of all the dramas and all the conflict and all the problems that we want to leave all that in 2019 and in the past. For the past is the past. It can never go, we can never return to the past. But 2020 is going to be a lot easier for a lot of people that have done the inner work, but it's going to be harder for those who are just starting. They're going to have to go through what we all had to go through when we started this process of ascension. Whether we'll be there to assist. For what we seek is to reclaim our life. For our light was captured long ago, and we've been suffering through many incarnations as a shadow self, which is really ego. And so we want to reclaim that life to call on our higher self, call on our creator. For the earth will continue to do this cleansing. There may be volcanoes, earthquakes, floods. All those things are part of the process that is assisting the earth. For if we need to relocate part of the populations, we'll do that. We're going to adapt, but the earth is conducting our own program. It's preparing for the ascension. For once the whole planet will be ascended, we're going to be, our physicality will be transformed, crystalline, and we'll never be sick. We'll never get old. We'll stay young as long as we want, as long as we need. And there's going to be so many wonderful things that will come as a result of that ascension process. And then we'll continue to climb the multi-dimensional matrix all the way back to the Godheads. Eventually, we're going to return home to the source. For it's going to be a decade of initiation for all of humanity, and that will lead to self-mastery, more responsibility. And so I'm going to comment. First, I wanted to show this is the Monet. I completed my portrait of Claude Monet. I signed it here, and I changed. I fixed his beard and his hair. I really like it. His eyes, I like it. And the reason why it does not have there is this astrology in the back. But the reason why Monet does not have, I went to verify why he didn't have his ascendant. But the simple reason is that we don't know the hour of his birth. For the ascendant is determined by the hour of birth, but in the 19th century, people didn't record the hour of the birth. It's something that came more recently. And so this painting is a self-portrait. It's got those amazing eyes. I was looking at this painting. It's like the Mona Lisa. When you go to the right, it's gonna follow you to the right. It goes to the left, it follows you to the left. If you look at the painting from below, it looks at you from above. If you put the painting on the floor, it will look at you from below. So it's quite it's got this. I really like this painting. It's a new self-portrait, and there is my astrology for something very personal because. But then I want my life to be an open book, so I'm not trying to hide anything. And there is like dozens of planets that are. I couldn't include all the planets that I've discovered because the painting was too small, but. In essence, I'm going to comment on some of them. My ascendant is in Pisces, so your first house is where your ascendant is. It's what it starts the house systems, which is more significant even than the constellation system. It's more personal. So I have both my ascendant and my sun in Pisces, which conjunct Chiron, the planet Chiron, the planet of healing and knowledge. It's the most powerful force in my life, one of the most powerful. Then I have Mercury, which is Hermes, is the messenger of the sun. Once we enlighten, Mercury is no longer a trickster, it becomes the messenger of the sun, the interpreter of the light of the sun. Then I have this beautiful planet in Pisces that's called Metis. She's the mother of Athena. It's a planet of wisdom. It's a goddess I work with. And then I have those other planets. One is Mars, which is a lot of planets in Pisces. Mars is the willpower. It's Aries. It rules Tuesday. Tuesday is a very important day for me always. Then I have this planet Cassandra. Cassandra is two cross symbol. She's the one who knows the truth, sees the future, but nobody believes her. It's an old story with Apollon. So when Cassandra tells you no, you said it's okay. Don't contradict Cassandra. Cassandra knows better. Then with Pandora, Pandora was the first woman. She was given the door. She was the insatiable woman. But the symbol of that planet is the box of Pandora. When something is known, there is no way that we're gonna turn it back. We cannot turn back the clock and say, well, we don't know about electricity. We don't know. It's like, and there is certain danger about this Pandora's box. When there are certain things that once it's out there, it's really difficult to control. So this Cassandra. Pandora, and then I have this planet Ibris. Ibris, we all have those planets in our charts. Ibris is what is excessive in life. All that is excessive. Know yourself, nothing more. And we have so many things that is more on top of us that prevents us from seeing ourselves. So it's the planet of excess that's also there. So it's part of the healing with Chiron and Mars with my willpower, and so all of that is happening in Pisces. In Aries, I have those two planets here. That's Venus, which is a planet of love and choices and abundance. That's conjuncting Jupiter, the planet of expansion. So I'm really glad I have that in my second house. To have Venus and Jupiter in my second house is quite wonderful and synchronicity. And then I have Eros here. Eros is a rather large planet on the physical plane, and it's Eros. There is many Eros. There is the original Eros that was here at the creation of the earth, the original love. Then there is which is celestial Eros, and then there is the earthly Eros that is the son of Protos and Peña, the goddess of lack and the god of abundance that. Explained in the banquet of Plato, but Eros in essence is a very sexual planet. While in the same times I have Cupido. Cupido is not to be mistaken with Eros. Cupido is the little angel that. Well, Eros also is the one that's through that targets the heart of people, but Cupido was just is a lower form of divinity, but it's important as well. It's an associated of Venus, so here they're together. I have many goddesses in this constellation. I have Minerva, which is another planet for Athena, the beloved Athena, the goddess of wisdom. Here there is Eunomia, another beautiful goddess, the goddess of divine order. It's a heart with a star on top of it. Then there is the goddess Isis, the great mother, that's also there. Sedna, I don't really know all that well. I think it's a oceanic goddess. And then there is Sphinx. I have Sphinx here. Sphinx is the one who creates the test. And then there is Eris, the goddess of chaos, the one that brought the apple of discord into the wedding of Thetis when started the War of Troy. Then in Taurus, we have Aegea. Aegea is about prevention of illness. She's the daughter of Asclepius, the god of medicine, with panacea. So Aegea is about the words come from hygiene, to maintain health rather than having to heal it afterwards. Diana The planet Diana is another planet for Artemis. For Artemis has also another planet, but the Roman name has taken dominance over the Greek names. So Diana is the goddess of hunting, but it's also the protector of nature, the sister of Apollon. Here I have Proserpina. Proserpina is the Latin name for Persephone, the goddess of the underworld. Here there is Fortuna, the goddess of fortune. Ornamenta, which is a beautiful planet. I've seen it. It's beautiful. It's like the ornament. Arachne, she was a goddess, but she was a mortal, so was turned into a spider. She was. But it's the idea of networking and webs and architecture. Then there is Toro. Toro is a very powerful, brutal force. It's connected to the Minotaur. Then there is Nemesis. Nemesis is the power that censure when humans are too excessive, when they're too arrogant, when they have too much excess. The Nemesis will censure it. And then there is Hades. That's another planet for Pluto, but it's a very faraway planet. It's about the underworld. Then in Gemini, I have Requiem here. Well, Requiem is the pose. Pose, it means pose. So it's about posing, to be able to pose ourselves. Very important planet. Then there is Circe. Circe was one who poisoned Ulysses. So it's the magician. Niobe is a kind of it's a planet that shows a bit of arrogance. She had some beautiful children, but she was always claiming that her children was more beautiful than Apollon and Artemis. So eventually the conflict became so bad that Artemis and Apollon killed all the children of Niobe. And she was so sad, she started crying, and the god transformed her into a fountain. And then Nessus is a planet about betrayal. It's the one that betrayed Heracles. It's a centaur. It's a trans-Neptunian planet, or maybe it's a centaur. And then in Cancer, I don't have that many planets. I have Pythia. Pythia is the oracle. It's the Pythia is the one the oracle of Delphi. Here there is Volcanus, which is another planet for Hephaestus, the god of the forge. It's all of the magic technologies. This is a faraway planet for Hephaestus, got another planet that's not in this painting. Then in Leo there is Hecate. Hecate is like the symbol is the moon that carries a flag. I see it, I feel it as a little bit of a feminine chaos a little bit, but sometimes those planets we have to appease the negative aspect of those planets when they affect us. They don't always call, hey, it's me, I'm acting in your life, but it's about finding this balance, this peace. Then there is Mekemeke. Mekemeke is the god of the Easter Island. It's connected to Arcturus. It's got the symbol has a form of a horse. Quewar is a moon named Wewat. I'm not really sure. It's an interesting planet. It seems very clear, very pure, but I'm not really sure. I'm not an expert on that planet. Then there is a planet Ixion. Ixion is another planet that shows arrogance. For Ixion he had done some really bad things on the earth, but Zeus liked him, so he invited him on the Olymp, and he wanted to forgive him. But as soon as Zeus had this back turn, he tried to seduce his wife, but Zeus wasn't fooled, and so he sent him into the Tartar. It was like a supplice. Then in Virgo, I have some very powerful conjunction in Virgo, near conjunction of Pluto and Uranus. Pluto is the lord of the underworld. It rules the base, and Uranus rules the crown. It's the awakener. It's the grandfather of them all. And then there is Davida. Davida is a fast-moving planet. It's like a window with two, and I've seen this planet. I've received energy from that planet, but I just feel it. It's a very fast-moving planet. Then there is Omea that has two moons, Namaka and Namaka. Omea is connected to the islands of Hawaii. It's a very beautiful, peaceful energy, very integrated energy in the planet. Apollon here is the second planet. Apollo is the second planet for Apollon. Apollon. So it looks like a bit like Saturn. It's kind of funny. And then there is Sappho. Sappho is like a double Venus. She was a priestess from a poetess from the planet Lesbos. Eventually she killed herself for a man, but she's the symbol of this double Venus, symbol of homosexuality. Then above in Libra we have Amor. Amor is most of my planets here are retrogrades. Amor is a heart that's been separated in two, so it's about two sides of the heart coming back together. Hidalgo is the name of the mayor of Paris, but it's the planet. I don't know it very well, but it's a centaur as well. Atlantis is this planet. Atlantis is about keeping the memory of that dualistic civilization that was Atlantis. Above is Clotho. Clotho is the one that saw that sows destiny. Is the one that she pulls the strings of destiny in order to create this tapestry with Lachesis and Atropos. There's all three of them. One is making this tapestry, the other one is pulling the strings, and finally the one that cuts the string when it's time that we completed the cycle. Then there is Sisyphus. Sisyphus is Sisyph. It's another being that's been challenged into the underworld. Is the one that pushes a rock. As soon as on top of the mountain, as soon as the rock's on top of the mountain, the rock goes down, and then he has to push it again. So it's about understanding this process of repetition, to let go of repetition. For we want always to be new and fresh, and Sisyphus will have a tendency to bring us back into this repetitive cycle. Then there is Poseidon, which is a trans-Neptunian planet that's not too far from Neptune, which is his home planet. It's a very big planet, wonderful planet. I recommend visiting Venus. It's Venus, of course, visiting Venus. It's probably the most important. It's Venus that we need to visit with our consciousness. But Neptune will expand. It's a very spiritual planet. There's advanced civilization from Neptune. It's a strange world. When I visited there, it was very strange experiences, but those worlds will happen, and they all have moons that are very, very advanced. All of those big planets, those four major big planets, have moons that all have very specific frequency, but we have to attain a certain level before they can actually impact us. Then there is Iris. Iris is the counterpart of Hermes. She's the feminine side she's also a messenger of Zeus. She comes from, she's a link between heaven and earth. Iris with light feet. She can fly in the sky. She's very fast. And here it looks like an eye, like an iris. Siva is like a Venus with arms. So it's a Siva and Siwa. Here, so they have a temple in Egypt. So they're like a divinity of love. And then I have my moon and Scorpio, my moon and Neptune that are almost conjuncting, so it's very powerful where we have the moon. On the top of my chart in Sagittarius, I have a lot of goddesses. Ceres, which is the goddess that makes things grow. This planet is a big planet, and it creates the growth and the expansion and the abundance. It is another planet for the goddess Demeter. Then Pallas Athena. Pallas Athena is it's a planet of wisdom as well. For Pallas and Athena, there was a conflict between, not a conflict, but a long time ago, when they were both very young goddesses, they were practicing swordsmanship. And at some point, Zeus saw that Pallas could hurt Athena. He didn't know that they were just playing, but he intervened in their practice, and by accident, Athena killed Pallas, which was the daughter of Triton, I think. And so, but she was so sad because she loved her very much, and so she always said, "Now we'll always be." Or associate my name with Pallas Athena. So this planet is like these double goddesses. Then we have the goddess Hebe, which is the secret of immortality. She's the conceptor of the nectar and the ambroisie. Work quite well with this goddess. I want to have a daily relationship with some of those energies, to be initiated every day. Then there's the planet Juno, who's about long-term faithful relationship. She's another planet for Hera, the wife of Zeus. And then there is Euphrosyne, who's a grace, one of the three graces, and she's a symbol of the joy within life. And in Sagittarius, there is the galactic center and the great attractor. Then in Capricorn, I have my South Node in Capricorn, which is my past, those things we've done. On the far out, the farther planet is Cybele. Cybele is another planet for I don't know if it's Hera or Rhea, I'm not sure. It's a Roman name. but it's a mother energy. It's like the Earth. The symbol is the symbol of the Earth, so round with a circle. Then there is a star on top of it, and then there is a roof on top of it. So it's a protective energy. Then there is Asclepius, which is a planet for Asclepios, the god of medicine, that was trained by Chiron. The goddess Victoria, which is the planet of victory. Child, which is the planet of the inner child. House, which is the planet of the physicality of home. Flora, which is the planet that talks about all the flowers. Psyche, which was a lover of Cupidon. Siwa, which is, I've already talked about her here. And then finally in Aquarius, the most powerful planet I have in Aquarius is Saturn, which is at 29 degrees of Aquarius, and I have my ascendant at 0 degree Pisces. So I have Saturn and that conjunct on the cusp of my ascendant. And there is also Vesta that keeps it aligned. Vesta is very powerful because it's about integrity, purity, and she's even reinforced by the goddess Astraea, which is Estia, which is also another goddess of purity. Icarus, which is the one that to escape the Minotaur, his father created those wings, but he flew into the sun and he was too ambitious. And then there is Panacea. Panacea is a goddess, was also a goddess. It's the secret of the knowledge of the plants in order to heal. And then there is Hopi, which is the god of the American Indians. And I realize I'm lacking two symbols here that I might just bring them back. Is Europa. Europa was kidnapped by Zeus. We don't know if the Europe was kidnapped by darker forces. We want to re-establish a European function that works for all the European people. This is going to be coming in line. First, we have to take care of our own the quality of life of each of our citizens within our country. But then once this is done, we're going to want to expand that to Europe and to the rest of the world, so that the world can function in peace and harmony. Once the proper understanding, people needs to be enlightened enough not to respond out of frustration, anger, but it will take some time. And then there is Pholus. Pholus is a center, but it's also an enlightened center. There's not that many of them. There's Chiron and Pholus. And so this is just some idea. Some of the planets that are part. We all have those planets that are influencing on the subtle planes. I really like this painting. It's very powerful. This look is like probably my most powerful self-portrait. I'm going to pull a few cards to see. So the highest wisdom for us today is a step ahead. So it's about understanding. We'll see what the card says. It's about a step ahead. It's like it says receiving help, delegating authority, interdependence. So it's about accepting that we work together and certain people can come to our help as well. What we need to understand is a faithful heart. It's about soulmates, soul twins, about 34 and 35. And here it says faithfulness, loyalty, devotion. It's good to be as true as possible. What we need to do is flexibility, to stay flexible. This is more for the week. The first reading was more for the month. This is more for the week. And the last card will be more for the day. Capacity to learn. Opening mind, to be capable to adapt without compromising what is essential. And the outcome is wonderful. It's nothing is better than your home, to feel good at home. And so this is it's like a home in the sky, but it's here in the. It's very much about returning to the authenticity, returning home, to feeling good at home, arriving in a place that is made for you, or to feel good within your own skin. For this physical body, we've been carrying this physical body since our birth, so there's no reason. We're used to it, we know it, and so we want to continue to elevate its frequency. Well, I'm gonna finish with a song and pull one more card. I won't make this video too long. It's a song about overcoming the challenges of life. It goes like this. I've paid my dues, time after time. I've done my sentence, but committed no crime. bad mistakes. I've made a few. I've had my share of sand kicked in my face, but I have come through. And I need to go on and on and on, and 'cause we are the champions, my friends. And we'll keep on fighting till the end. We are the champions, we are the champions. No time for losers, 'cause we are the champions of the world. I've taken my bow and my curtain call. You brought me fame and fortune, everything that goes with it, and I thank you all. But it's been no bed of roses, no pleasure cruise. I consider it a challenge before the whole human race, and I ain't gonna lose. And I need to go on and on and on, and 'cause we are the champions, my friends. And we'll keep on fighting till the end. We are the champions, we are the champions. No time for losers, 'cause we are the champions of the world. Great songs by Queen, Freddie Mercury song. Yes, we are the champion. You are the champion. We need champions. We need people that are brave enough, courageous enough, attuned enough to go in front of the world and to show this light. And so, more and more understand you are the center actor within your life. You are the creator, the producer, for you are the assistance of spirit. But nothing is more important than what's going on within, and to align, attune, to listen to that which is your higher call, and to follow that as much as possible. The situation is the decision, the Archangel Jophiel. Free yourself from anything that prevents you from moving forwards, needing to purify. Unjustified worry induced by the lack of trust in yourself. So it's about returning to this, to have much more. For this decade, it's been very difficult, but we want to. This year, it has been forecasted that we're going to find ourselves, we're going to find our power, we're going to find this trust, this faith in ourselves. We're going to have all the gratitude necessary to understand why we had to go through this process of internal transmutation. That's not always easy, and those who have not done it will have to face it during this decade. So, but we are moving towards our self-mastery. I hope you enjoy your time. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. I wish you a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later. Namaste.